What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, October 9th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on odds.com, the odds headquarters. Congratulations to all of you guys who had the Chicago Bears last night. Dennis Garcia in our chat put out an excellent article why he was backing the Chicago Bears, and I still can't get over Terrific Tom not being honest. I mean, we clearly saw you think that miscount the downs. Just, it's okay to be valuable. It's okay, Tom, that you're not perfect, but now you're just a fucking lying asshole. That's what you are now, Tom. Because just say, yeah, I miscounted the downs. I'm 43. I'm getting old. I have the beginning of dementia. Why don't you say that, Tom? Now, I sound like I lost money on the Buccaneers or the team total over, which I didn't. I didn't make any moves in that game, and I'm thankful to not have made any moves. I came close late in the day to taking both team totals over because they were both at plus 100, 20.5 for the Bears, 24.5 for the Bucs, and I held off of that as well. We saw all the sharps come in and nail the under early, which kind of kept me off of it. Why do I sound a little bit upset? I'll tell you why. Because I can't get MLB together, man. Double up on the Rays yesterday. First 5 full game. I just got to let it go. I just got to let it go. That's what I got to do. Let's talk about who has been winning. Yesterday, right off the top of the show, we talked about how Mexico cashed at plus 350. And it's Sabino Anguiano, whom we love. And I couldn't remember off the top of my head. I was like, who gave it? So let's give a shout out to Sabino Anguiano on Wednesday. Give it the plus 350 to everybody. So shout out to Sabino Anguiano. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. William Rodriguez ready to go. I love it. Joe Free, cash action bets off another very successful, very, very, very successful day. Cash action. Nice job back in the Cougars as well. Gregory Wilson. There is Dennis Garcia. Check out all of his work on odds.com. Excellent article on why he was backing the Bears. Nick Hub ready to go. Rude Jude says the Bears. There's Dean Eden. Dean Eden, you're a good man. Thank you for the kind words. Cash action bets taking this New York Tampa Bay over. God, I just don't want to bet it. I'm just so hesitant to bet baseball right now. It's just taking money out of my family's mouth. Slats 45, 8-0 streak. Wow. Oh, with the over not cashing. Okay, 8-0 streak ends with the over not cashing. Standing hits on player prop, 1-2 on the night. Tough game to cap tonight. Waiting on Dutchess. Sweated out prop and basket. What's one thing I've been successful on? I mean, not giant successful. I'm up 7.92 units. 300 bets, plus 300 bets. ROI of just over 2%. But I am moving on the under 216.5. I bet it about an hour and 15 minutes ago. Cash action cashes the Bears and under. Dennis Garcia said Tommy had memory loss, but people make mistakes. Just come out and say I made a mistake. Like you knew it was fourth down. If you knew it was fourth down, why do you have your 4 fingers up pointing at people after the down? Idiot. It's just, it's okay to make mistakes. You look like a giant asshole when you pretend that the mistake wasn't made. That's when you look like an asshole. Nick Hub, loving this Rays Yanks game. 5 night going to be nuts. Running far, far away from it, says Nick Hub. I feel that, man. There's Turnsey in the house. Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Prince of the City, I hear you. It hurts. Birdie says baseball sucks ass anyways. It really threw me into a state of depression yesterday. I kind of got over it. Backdoor cover in the house. Christian Rivas cashing on that under. Michael Irvalina, Viper NB, TJ. Uh-oh. And Jets players coach is sent home. Oh, no. I really like my action on the Cardinals. Okay. Dad Fence said I lost my ass with the Yankees Rays yesterday. Very reluctant today. I'm so reluctant. I am so reluctant. There's Hustle Wilson in the house. My guy Hustle, Beach Boss. Dean Eden says the horses called me last night and that said that if you return to your first love, they will win every race for you. Well, I'll tell you, we're going to do 2 big days, Friday and Saturday, of the Breeders' Cup Championships. That will be happening for sure. Lance Rose says Rays have gotten Nicole this season. We're going to talk all about that spot. But yes, look at that. Joseph Gomez, cold brew in the low baggers, nice breakfast. I love it, Joseph Gomez. Tori Coker, who's been back in the Heat in this series, believing in them, says Heat win tonight. Lakers end it in 6, says Tori Coker. All righty. We've got lots of work to do. So just a little update on how we're doing things moving forward. Pretty simple here. This is the last 10 a.m. Betting with the Bag show. This is it. We're going to come back as soon as all the sports come back, hopefully January. But I will be all over the place still. On Mondays, we're going to do NCAA football, big NCAA football show, opening lines show. On Tuesday night, I have my NFL show with Rob Bebenek at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we have special guest, the Whale Capper, on the Tuesday show this week. I'm so excited to be back in action with the Whale Capper. So it'll be Bebsy, Whale Capper, and myself. I'm not going to make Whale Capper sit for the 2 hours and 45 minutes that it takes us to break down the entire card, but we'll get him in for a good chunk of it. And then we move to the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and we're going to be focusing on football. When college basketball comes in, we'll make changes. This is just for now. We'll make changes. So that's what's going on right now. Guillermo Zertucci giving us a look here. Got to copy and paste this. Santa Anita race 8, the 5 Border Town at 7-2. I'll put that in. And by the way, yesterday at Remington Park, we had a low bagger gas station sushi. His family horse ran in the 3rd race at Remington Park, and 21-4 opening quarter. That was right. That she was 3-year-old filly was right on the lead of, and it just took too much out of her. But a special filly that gas station and the family have in the barn. So congratulations, Gas, and much love to you. Slat says the Whale, what a team for NFL. Yes, we're very, very excited. Lance Rose says, so sad now. Lance, don't worry. It just doesn't make sense, really. And I'll be doing other stuff. This will give me the chance to do, some outside of the box type videos and have some fun, do some comedic stuff. So that's the plan. Joe Free says Lakers Heat first half over 110.5. I can't wait to talk about that. Okay, so we got 8 minutes till Dutch Boy Fresh joins us. So why don't we get into Yankees Rays right now? Yankees Rays. Dav says, who's got a college football show tomorrow? Or are you hitting that today? Yes, Dav, today we are hitting more college football. So I can tell you right off the top, how we are handling this is our CMAC is coming in, and he's going to talk Louisville, Georgia Tech. I've also taken a look at that game. Texas Tech at Iowa State, Pittsburgh, Boston College. So those are going to be CMAX 3 games. And then John Ryan's going to come in and talk Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Duke, Syracuse, UTSA, BYU. We hammered a bunch of games yesterday, college football games as well. All right, there's Dommy Gunn in the house. We have Gin Rummy joining us, A. Hilly, Joe Free, Dav Fenn. Let's get to work right now. TJ says, "Oh no, how am I going to fill the time while I'm working?" We take what the sports give us. There's Gio Mercedes, Michael Irvalina. Beach Boss, I did not get on the Houston game last night. That's part of the reason why I'm irritated. The market was telling us that Houston was going to win easily. What, they lose 5 turnovers and win by 18? It's crazy. Let's go. Yankees, Rays. Let's get to work right now. Let's see what we are being offered. And I've lost 7 straight in the MLB playoffs and very hesitant to make any kind of move. Garrett Cole and the Yankees open up at -160. That's where they are now at Bet365. This total at 7.5 is juiced to the under at -120. All right. Let's go. Birdie. Okay, sorry. Birdie. Okay, ALDS Game 5. Series is tied 2-2. We are in Petco Park in San Diego. Garrett Cole, 7-3, 2.84 ERA, 0.96 whip, 73 innings, 94 K, 17 walks in the regular season. in the postseason this year, 2-0, 3.46 ERA, 1.08 whip, 21 Ks and 2 walks in 13 innings. Going up against Tyler Glasnow. How long is Glasnow going to go on 2 days rest? Could he go more than 2 innings? I don't know if he goes more than 2 innings. This year in the regular season, he was a strikeout machine, 91 Ks in 57 in the third, 91 Ks, 22 walks, 4.08 ERA, 1.13 whip. In the playoffs, 2-0. Both of these guys are 2-0, 4.91 ERA, 1.18 whip, 11 innings, 18 Ks, 4 walks. And these two met up in the ALDS Game 5 last year. Houston, Tampa. Houston won, I think, 6-1. 6-1. And Garrett Cole steps up in big games. Lance Rose says Snell in after. Yes. Snell in after. And there's Jive Man in the house. New day, brother. Yes. Thank you. Well, I feel better now that I'm here with you guys, but it's been a pretty angry couple nights for me. Rays versus righties. I mean, there's going to be lefties in too. We know they hit lefties harder than righties. They certainly didn't hit Montgomery last night. Especially those first 2 innings, I was like, they were getting bad on balls. I thought we were going to get runs. Yanks versus righties. Oh, sorry. Rays versus righties is the stat that was important. Excuse me. Yankees versus righties doesn't really matter, but they as well hit lefties better than they hit righties. Righties just 226, 715 OPS in the regular season. Rays versus righties, 238, 738 OPS in the regular season. Rays bullpen is 4.01 ERA in the postseason with a 1.42 whip. Not nearly as strong as it was in the regular season. Yankees bullpen, 4.35 ERA, 1.19 in the regular season. Pretty much the exact same numbers in the postseason, 4.33, 1.22. Slat says Cole has never pitched on 3 days rest either. Heavy juice, minus 160 on Yanks. Still not sure if I can back the Rays. Nick Hubb says Rays will have Glasnow, Snell in for the first 6 and their top 3 relievers. That is a very, very important point. Castillo, Anderson, and Fairbanks were all not used yesterday. It's an extremely important point that even though Glasnow is coming in on 2 days rest and he says he feels fine, he was in the bullpen yesterday. He could have gone in yesterday. Stephen Dunn said everyone touting how a mess Yankees bullpen was, and they aren't. I agree with that. The bullpen looked very strong. I mean, we know those guys can fire. I mean, we know Britton and Chapman. And Zach looks awesome right now. And Chapman was in absolute, complete control last night. So there's Ralph Portwando in the house. Great to see you. Reviews with Von Polo. Our man Von Polo is on the over here. So Cole pitched 6 innings in game 1. And it wasn't great. Allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, 8 Ks. This is his 4th winner-take-all game. He lost Game 5 of the NLDS for Pittsburgh against St. Louis in 2013. He lost the 2015 NL wildcard game for the Pirates against the Cubs. And then, of course, he won last year with the Stros. Yeah, Michael Irvin, it upset me very, very much. Raul Porwando's on the Yanks, minus 147, and the over 7. He's paying for that over at minus 135. Stat Guap joining us. Well, let's take a look at the head-to-head matchup here. Give us some more clarity. The Rays batters up against Garrett Cole. They faced 190 at-bats against Garrett Cole. 226 average with a 697 OPS. Who hits him hard? G-Man Choi. G-Man Choi hits him hard. 4 home runs, 19 at-bats. And then Arozarena. Arozarena hits him very hard. 3 for 5 with a home run. So G-Man Choi Arozarena has a small sample size, but the Cuban kid is hitting right now, although he didn't have a very good game yesterday. And Yandy Diaz, 5 for 18 against them with a home run. All right, let's take a look at against Glasnow. 94 at-bats for these Yanks, 191 average, 663 OPS. I just can't get right. TJ Park says, waking up to Jimmy's luxurious voice, best way to start your day. It's very kind. And TJ Park saying Jets were sent home for COVID tests. Look, I would like to give you a lean just so you guys could fade it at this point, having lost 7 straight. Torrey Coker has raised the score first. It's a very interesting look. Joe Free says Cole is going to pitch perfect, Jimmy. Yanks win. I mean, my unit size is $100 for baseball, so it's not like yesterday was just like losing an NFL bet or NHL bet, but I can't. I got to stay off. Why bother when I have NBA Finals game 5? Now I'm going to watch it, but I can't keep hemorrhaging money. Lockup Trump 2020 says, can put a line through Cole's Pirate appearances. Pirates faced 2 tough opponents those 2 years. Captain 24/7 is on no score in the first inning. TJ Parks is leaning towards the Yanks. As I said, Torrey Coker on Rays to score first. Nick Hub says maybe a player prop for G-Man to hit a home run, currently plus 450 on DraftKings. I really think you should get even more value. You should get 6-1 or 7-1 on those types of bets. So I'm not high on it. Ari Miller also on no-run first inning. Justin Bilbo, no. I did no World Series futures. I made 5 ML season win total futures, but it was a strange time, with COVID and then waiting for the 60-game season. And I also missed all the value on the Rays. I mean, C-Mac got the Rays to win the pennant at 11-1. It was 7-1 when we were talking about it. Birdie says, put Rays in one hand and Yanks in the other two. Have your daughter pick a hand, bet that game. I can't. Some guys into the over. Joseph Gomez making an interesting look here. We talk about buying points and selling points, buying runs, selling runs. And what we've learned from the Whale Capper, who's going to be joining us on Tuesday, and he does it so successfully in the NFL, is he only sells. He never buys. And that's what Joseph Gomez is planning to do, under 5.5 at big plus money. And Joe Free says Cole's not going to lose today. Rays had their chance. Bats are cooling for the Rays. Alrighty. Yankees, Rays. No move for me. Lost 7 straight in the MLB playoffs. And why focus on that? When I can bring on Dutch Boy Fresh and talk NBA Finals Game 5. Let's do that right now. Dutch Boy Fresh, my man, how are you? Welcome to the show. How's things, my man?
Jimmy, my man. How we doing, my man? It's early over here. It's a little after 7. We fresh. We blessed. I'm ready to put these motherfucking bookies to rest, bro. You already know.
I like it. Look, we got some rhymes at 7:15 a.m. in Vegas. Game 5 NBA Finals. Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. Dutchie, just before we hammer Game 5, are you doing anything with Game 5 of the ALDS Yankees Rays?
I haven't really even looked at it yet, but from what I overheard you, I only look Cole. I was on the over yesterday, so that was the first time it didn't hit. But yeah, I like the Yankees, bro. I think they're just overall better team, but the Rays are scrappy, man.
They're scrappy, and this if it's Glass now to Snell to Castillo to Anderson to Fairbanks, that's. And then knowing that the Yankees did use Britton and Chapman yesterday. All right, let's move on.
All right, go ahead. This is what I would do. I would fade what everybody else does because everyone was on the Yankees two games ago. They lost. Everyone was on the Rays yesterday. They lost. So just fade who everybody's on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it can work. It can work. All righty, Game 5, NBA Finals. Lakers lead 3-1. They're wearing the black Mamba jerseys to close this one out. I've already made a move on the under 216.5. That's gone down a half point. It's now 216 at bet 365. So it's gone down a half point there. It did open at 217. I could have got a better number had I got in on it early. Lakers are sitting at -7. And the 7.5s have jumped on the board. It did open at 7.5, and I came very close to taking the Lakers at -7. Very, very close. But I held off at this point. Want to break this down with Dutch Boy Fresh. I want to talk pace. I want to talk KCP and AD. I want to talk it all. I want to break it all down, but I don't want to sit here and talk for 5 minutes and then hand it over to you. What are your first feelings? Have you made a bet? Game 5 NBA Finals.
Okay, so we're actually on the same page. It sounds like on this over-under because I locked in. I missed it as well, though. I was lagging. I got the 216.5. I love the under in this game. With Bam on the court, it's been under every time. The only games went over was when Bam didn't play. Also, a couple things that I also think that will happen here is I'm not on the side with you as with the Heat. I'm on the Heat actually plus 7.5. I think they're a little more grittier than what I actually thought they were. I underestimated the Heat. I will say that. They're a very good team. Jimmy, he's got him playing tough. And to me, all the pressure is on the Lakers. They got the Black Mamba jerseys. I do believe they'll close it out tonight. But I have to take the points. Now, a couple things to back that up. Miami's 4-1 ATS in their last 5 versus the Lakers. They're 15-4 in the last 19 ATS overall. They're also 7-3 ATS off 2 days rest in their last 10. They're 9-4 in the playoffs as a dog ATS as well. So a lot of things lean Miami's way. And to me, it's simply just the fact that all the pressure is realistically on the Lakers. Even though it's 3-1, I feel like when you watch the interviews, when you see Jimmy talk, when you see Spo, and then you go watch LeBron and AD, it's just a different vibe. The pressure is definitely on the Lakers tonight.
I agree with that. This is a team, to me, a veteran team that I think can handle that. That's not any team with LeBron the way he is, right? There's another thing playing into this, I think, with the Lakers, and I think that these guys want out of the bubble. And let's get out of the bubble by winning the NBA championship. I think that would be a bit of a driving force here. I really think they want to win tonight. They want to win now. Yeah. Okay, well, let's break some other things down. Let's talk pace. So in the playoffs, and this is one of the reasons why I love your Bam angle, but one of the reasons why I wanted to move towards the under is pace in the playoffs. Heat 96.89, Lakers 97.95. The pace of the series is 95.13 possessions a game. The pace in game 4 was down to 92 possessions a game. And I really think that with everything on the line and the Mamba jerseys on, I was really trying to break down what I thought would happen point total wise because we had this extra day rest. And this extra day rest added a wrinkle to this total. Mm-hmm. So what do you think? How do you use the extra day's rest as an element in your capping today?
I just think they'll be a little bit more, fresh. I do believe, but simply it's playoff basketball, Jimmy. They should be ready to rock and roll. Miami is going to play defense. I feel like it's more on the Lakers if they're going to play the defense. If the Lakers show up and are locked in, like I believe they will, because I do believe they're going to win the game. I just have to take the 7.5 from what I've seen on the court. I just simply believe that the Lakers will slow it down and give AD the ball. I mean, just give it inside to AD. I don't understand why they like to shoot so many perimeter shots as well. But at the same time, Miami, with the 2 days rest, I think this is big for them. I think Bam is got extra. He's not even on the injury report from what I've seen today. I know Dragic is out, but I just think Miami really needed the extra day rest. So to me, this is even more of a big favor with the extra day to Miami. LeBron seems he's finally ready to go. AD, I don't really see anything really wrong with the Lakers injury-wise at all. They don't even look too banged up at all. So I think the extra day's rest is a big favor to Miami. And simply the under to me is just based off playoff basketball. I'm expecting them to go out there and play 110% the entire game. Not for one quarter, not for 2 quarters. They got the Mamba jerseys on. They should be locked in and ready to play D. And I know Miami's going to be ready to go. They're down 3-1. They're going to play some defense.
See, I took the extra day's rest as a huge benefit to AD. with his ankle, he's grimacing all over the place. And then you can look at it. So he's averaging 29.5 points in the series, but just 18.5 points over the last 2 games. I mean, he has not looked that good over the last 2 games. Now he is shooting 61% from the floor, 54.5% from 3.
Hasn't missed a free throw. I mean, he's locked in.
Yeah, 17 for 17.
To me, he just doesn't get enough chances. I'm like, why the hell? I had the over prop with him last game. He just didn't look aggressive enough. Now you're right. When I did say they didn't look too banged up, the name that popped in my head right when that came out, Jimmy, was AD, because that motherfucker's always banged up. So you're right. The extra day's rest will definitely help AD, but I think like LeBron, the rest are ready to go. To me, the extra day rest is a big favor to Miami. Jimmy needs the rest. I mean, those guys are out there playing tons of minutes.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think it will benefit both teams. Definitely. And I also think that unlike earlier in the bubble, when there was 3 days rest, the team was practicing and playing. And I'm just guessing that I don't think that was happening here. I think it was a complete rest situation, which would lead me to believe that the first 6 minutes of the first quarter might be a little lower scoring, and then we'll have LeBron out because he leaves at about the 6.5 minute mark. So I was looking very closely at that first quarter, the total at 56. And then I started thinking about, when the Celtics and Heat were going at in the most important crunch time minutes, things slowed down. And we saw that in game 4 with the 92 possessions a game. I expect that to happen here. So Billy Bloodbath on the under, Viper MB on the under, Dutch Boy Fresh on the under. I'm on the under, but a lot of cappers in the chat on the over. We got Trevino Sloan on the over, Tori Coker on the over, and says they will have to shoot better. If there's 92 possessions for each team, and they're going to have to shoot the lights out.
Right, exactly. They're slowing it down. They really are. It's playoff basketball. Like I mentioned, with Bam on the court, the overs hit every game. So I don't, I mean, obviously it was a stretch game 1 when Dragic went out as well. But the unders hit every single time with Bam on the court. Like I mentioned, with him on the court, they slowed down as well. It's better defense as well. With him out, it was a different story. So I definitely am comfortable with that under. I do even think it might go up, and I might even go back on it. I was thinking about waiting, but then when I seen the 216 come back on Willie, because I see a 216 most places here in Vegas, I went ahead and jumped on it. I don't see the 217 anywhere. So
Jin Rami's been on the Heat spread and the under the last 2 games. He's looking at the under if it gets back to 217. All right, let's move over to player props. Let's look at the Heat first. We had Butler going off for 22, 10, and 9 last game, just missing his second consecutive triple-double. Hero going 21 and 7. You've had a great read on Hero. Bam, 15 and 7. Let's take a look and see what we're dealing with. Have you made any player props as of yet?
I locked in one, actually, and I love this one. It's super chalky, but I'm going LBJ. I got over 27.5 points. I'm not mad at the 48 as well with the total rebounds and assists, but he's going to get 28. Is Elias Sports LBJ. Now in closeout games, it's also 79%, 38 and 10 in closeout games. So it's 3-0 in the NBA Finals in closeout games. And he's also averaging 34, 12, and 9 in the 3 closeout games in the bubble. So he's getting it done when it matters. I do think he will win tonight with the Kobe jerseys. And I do love the over 27.5. And I believe the total rebounds and assist prop was at 48, I believe. Was that what you got there, Jimmy?
I'll pull it up right now, but there's been interesting market moves in the last 2 hours on the player props. Anthony Davis player prop is being hammered towards the under.
Yeah, he's not looking aggressive. I like I said, I had it last game, and you mentioned the stats. He's shooting 61% from the field, 54% from 3, hasn't missed a free throw, but he's not looking aggressive. It's pretty much Caldwell Pope, LeBron James, someone setting him up to get a dunk, a layup. I haven't really seen him just kind of go to work, which is surprising to me. So maybe this extra day off is going to be real beneficial to him. Maybe he was lingering,
Trevino Sloan says, what do you think about the finals MVP battle? I'm sure LeBron and Anthony Davis will show out. I like the points and rebounds for both players. That's from Trevino Sloan. Who would you give the MVP to right now?
It's LeBron. It's not even a question to me.
Yeah, I agree. So the 28.5 point total on AD is now minus 145 to the under. And that move has been in the last hour and a half, 2 hours. And then LeBron over 27.5, there's been a 10-cent move, or excuse me, a 5-cent move to the over here at Bet365. So then we go to rebounds, points, rebounds, and assists. It's sitting at 47.5. 47.5. So,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
would double down. That's easy money right there. Double down on LeBron. I like the points. I've already locked in the points. I believe it was 48.5 when I looked this morning on what I've seen. So I'm gonna have to look around. If I can get that 47.5, I like that a lot. I mean, he's averaging 54 total, 55 total, and total with all three combined in the 3 closeout games in this bubble. So I mean,
Tory Coker. Wow, this is a hot take. Tory Coker is a hot take. I love Tory. He says he thinks LeBron will retire if they win tonight, and Anthony Davis will opt out.
LeBron ain't going nowhere, bro.
LeBron wants to win 3 championships.
Yeah. AD want to ride that coattail. Come on, man.
I love Tory. That's great.
They're one stub point guard away from doing it for 3 more years.
Prince of the City says LeBron ain't retiring. He wants to play with his son. Yeah, we there's a Griffey Jr., Griffey Sr. happening for sure. Ron Walczek says LeBron knows how to rebound. We'll hit double digits. Hope it is at 9.5. Interesting point, Ron. Let's look at the rebounds here for LeBron. Rebounds. Where are we here? There we go.
He's getting 12 a game in the closeout. I think LeBron's going to kill every stat tonight.
It's at 9.5, Ron, but it's minus 160 to the over.
Yeah, they know it's coming.
And then we can go to just assists and rebounds. And for LeBron, that's 19.5, and it's juiced to the under. Do you find that interesting?
Say that one more time to me, Jimmy. I apologize.
The assists and rebounds for LeBron is at 19.5, juiced to the under heavily.
Yeah, I do actually find that interesting, but I do think that he's going to be super aggressive in this closeout game. So it kind of goes into what I was saying. I'm more in love with the points. Like I already bet it. I think he's literally going to get off tonight. Go to the hole. He's probably going to hit some threes. I see him playing big, and I think he'll have to because I don't think Miami's going to go quietly. And from what I've seen from AD, yeah, he has great numbers, but he's fading in that second half. Fourth quarter, preferably, you know.
Birdie says that makes sense to him. He says that if AD's props or point props are sinking, LBG takes control. Lower assists, higher points. Sean Dozier was wondering what you got what did you get on the LBJ point prop?
I got 27.5 minus 110. And you can and I know Czar's out there. You can bet that at Willie Czar, because I know we be kind of tough on these props out here. So that's actually at Willie. I was able to lock that in there. They don't show us much love on the props here, Jimmy, as much as they do to you guys.
But they juice him heavy at Bet365.
Yeah, I do notice that. Yeah.
So that's they still.
Is that why I see all these parlay props? I'm like, what the hell is this?
They just juice him so heavy. Yeah. Okay, so if you had the chance right now to only make one bet, and now you've already answered it by the one you've made, but right now, let's say right now, because you weren't sure, you were getting 48.5. So if you got 47.5 points, rebounds, and assists for LBJ, or 27.5 points, what would you take?
I have to go with the points because that's my read. I have to. I'm not mad at either one. Like when you dropped to 47.5, made me want to bet it right now. So I like them both, Jimmy. Like I said, double down, bro. Get that money. But the 27.5's hitting. No sweat, Slap.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't like it, Jimmy?
Oh, no, I do like it. I just don't want to double. I don't want to take them both.
Okay, so what's your gut telling you? The points and rebounds and assists?
It's almost as if I'm simplifying things, or not simplifying things. That's not the right word. Being lazy, just feeling like don't. If you take points, rebounds, and assists, I'm sort of covered.
Yeah.
But I think that you're right. I think that I agree with your angle that SoCal Reseller says it's 28.5, 48.5 at all Vegas books. Trevino says 47.5 makes more sense, Jimmy. At this point, LeBron may have to take matters into his own hands. I mean, do you think that – look at this, Contavious. Why would KCP be down to 10.5? I know it was at 9.5 earlier, but he's been beating that the whole time. The market is telling us that LeBron is going to lead the way points-wise, and the others are going to have worse games than they've been having. That's what the market's telling us. What do you think of this KCP prop?
It's super juiced, though, right?
No, not at all. There's no juice. It's 20 cent each way juice.
Yeah, my bad, Jimmy. I was looking at the 3-point prop. He's super juiced on the 3-point prop, I believe. That I was looking at. I like it. I mean, Wham pointed that out from the beginning. He's been good. He's actually been real good. He's been creating, like I mentioned earlier. He's been creating for AD too. He's attacking the rim. I like Caldwell Pope. I hate when I see Danny Green out there.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at 10.5 at all. I just don't want to sweat. I just know LeBron's gonna get it. So I don't, you know what I mean? I'm gonna bet LeBron and just keep it at that tonight. I'm not even going under Hero, under Butler. I'm doing none of that. I'm not mad at any of it, but LeBron's gonna get the money tonight. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sit back and take that.
Yeah.
I got cute last game with AD, and look what happened.
So let's give me another 45 seconds to put this together. Can you review all of your official action in this game, sides, totals, and props?
Yeah. Okay. So just also, I didn't lock in the first quarter, but I do like the Lakers first quarter, 3-1 in the series. -2.5 is what I seen before I got on the show. I haven't pulled the trigger on that, but I think that they're going to go ahead and come out and get that first quarter, but that's not official, but I do like that look. I locked in Miami +7.5 and also 216.5 to the under. And I really like that under a lot. I just believe no matter, as long as the Lakers show up, which I believe they will, the under will be good. And then I'm also on the 27.5 LeBron James points. And just before we got CMAC ready to roll here, and we're going to start with the big college game tonight. But what are your expectations of Jimmy Buckets tonight? His point prop is at 24.5. 24.5, yeah. I had under. Go ahead, Blair.
Just his points, rebounds, and assists is at 40.5.
Okay, yeah, I had under 26.5, 26 last game. That was the only prop I hit. Hero screwed me with that last 3. But I wouldn't bet against Butler tonight. I actually like the points, rebound, and assists because he just creates, and they really need him because none is only out there for himself. He does not look to get anyone else better. So when you look at Miami, it's like, okay, Jimmy's got to create. He's got to make things happen. That's why sometimes you see him not really score that much or shoot because he knows he's got to get others involved because who the hell else is going to? So I would look more with the points, rebounds, and assists. Because simply Jimmy likes to get him involved, and that's part of his job on that team, especially with Dragic out. So I don't mind the 24.5, but I would probably actually look under 24.5 and go more points, rebound, total, assists. What was the total on that again, Jimmy?
40.5.
Okay, so they're expecting him to do some things tonight, and I expect him to do it as well. So that's a little tough. Like I mentioned, Jimmy, that I just like LBJ tonight, man.
Yeah, and I had him on the under points in game 1, and I cashed that, but that was only because they were so comfortably ahead.
Yeah,
he was playing great, so it wasn't like it was.
Bro.
I don't know if it was a great bet. It was a winning bet, but just because they were so far ahead. Okay, I'm going to roll with you. I think the market's telling us that LBJ is going to score tonight. Take it upon himself with the Mamba jersey to finish the job.
And
so,
one of the Duncan Robinson or the Crowder props will be good. I mean, I couldn't find one in Miami I really wanted, but it was either out of them two, Crowder or Duncan, because one of them two will hit 2 or 3 threes. I know it. This game's going to be a competitive game, so one of them two will have to get off.
I love the way Crowder's played in this series.
Me too. I wanted to take him.
All right, over 27.5, tail of our man Dutch Boy Fresh. I'm already on the under 216.5, and I'm going to add the LBJ prop. Jose is in the Crowder rebounds prop. That's an interesting look as well. All righty, here we go. We're locked in for Game 5 of the NBA Finals. I mean, it's going to be extremely enjoyable. Just a quick aside, and I know we got to get C-Mac on here, but I remember Game 7, Lakers Celtics in 2010. I remember it like it was yesterday, and it was because of some rough shit in my life. My best friend Erwin, we had to put him in palliative care that day. He wasn't going to make it through the weekend. He had stomach cancer. And we put him into palliative care, and my couple buddies came down, Rob and Dave, and we put him in, and then we wanted to go watch the end of Game 7. And so I had my Paul Pierce jersey in my bag, so I popped it on, and we went and we got into this sports bar, and we got in late. Like there was 7 minutes left in the game. The Lakers were, going to win the NBA championship, and we were so heavy, after putting our friend, knowing that he wasn't going to make it through the weekend, we were just heavy, and we weren't talking. And the minutes were going down, and this gangster, he had like 15 guys with him. He had all these chains around his neck. He was a little guy, but big, a little in height, but fat, and chains. And he had this Kobe jersey on, and he got up, and he was just doing this slow clap to all his boys, this slow clap like this. And there's just like kind of a quiet in the bar, and my friend Rob goes, "Nice tits, Kobe." And shit, it was bad. Like he pushed tables to get to Rob, and
not to
Rob's shirt. Like we had like some girls with us going, "No, please don't hurt these guys." His friend just went into the hospital. He's dying, and then Rob's shirt's all ripped. The guy's like trying to get at Rob. All right, that's 10 years ago, Game 7.
Yeah. I lost a lot of money in that series. I remember quite well too, Jimmy. I was on Celtics that series, so not the fondest memories for me, but it's a good tit story, that's for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's if you ever want to get it, if you want to ever upset anybody, just call them the name on the back of the jersey after nice tits.
Yeah.
So that will
get them right.
That will get them every single time. Dutch Boy Fresh, thank you so much for everything here. Love tapping NBA Finals. It may not be the last time you're on the show. Who knows? I mean, for NBA. We know we're going to have you for NFL moving forward. May not be the last time we have you for NBA.
I mean, LBJ better not lose in them. I mean, I got the 7.5, so I'll take the win outright. But if LBJ loses in them black jerseys, man, and the Mamba jerseys, I don't know. He might not. That's what I'm telling you. The pressure's on him tonight, Jimmy. It's on him. That's why he's going to get about 35 plus.
They have to win. Is there anything you wanted to let us know that you're on? I know you're having a spectacular NFL season. Nice job on the Bucks first quarter last night. Is there anything that you're moving on? We've gone a little longer than I was hoping for on this. I'll
just be brief. I had I guess what the Jets game's no go because I was all over the cards. I believe you already there as well. The numbers just back that up big time. Is that a no go?
It's questionable now. Yeah, and I'm on cards first quarter, first half, but who knows at this point?
Yeah, I like them -7 full game, and then I'm on the over 54 in the Giants and Cowboy game. Over 6-0 in the last 6 games after ATS lost for the Giants. 4-1 last 5 overall to the over. Also 6-2 for the over for the Giants. In the NFC in the last 8 against NFC East opponents. The over's 14-2 for the Cowboys in the last 16 off an ATS loss. And also the over is 8-2 in the last 10 against an NFC East opponent. And if you're watching the Cowboys, it's over or nothing. I know it's 54, but I do think the Giants will probably get about, 20 to 24 points. And I definitely see, getting in the high 30s, the Cowboys. Their offense is elite. Their defense is the complete opposite of that. And the Giants are just a hot mess. So the 54 definitely looks appealing to me. And then, like I mentioned, the Cardinals is 2 games I have locked in. And yeah, that Bucks game, old Tommy boy, huh?
I vote. Look, I don't hate on Tom. I think he's, I listen to Bebenek hate on him. But him just not owning up to making a mistake. What an idiot! You made a mistake. Just
you got to respect Tom. You know what I mean? From what he's done, from what I've seen, he's the man. But yeah, he definitely had one of them moments yesterday. He wants back, that's for sure.
All he has to say is, look, I miscounted the downs in a very, very important time, and I let my team down. But I have 6 Super Bowl rings, and I'm going home to Giselle.
I mean, all you got to do is say, I fucked up, and then boom, done.
I'm shocked that he wouldn't man up like this. I don't know
if he's going to say what you said, Jimmy, but if he just said he fucked up, it's all good. That was kind of weak, but,
Prince of the City, no, I've got the Steelers first half full game, -4 and -7.
Who's Prince on tonight? I know he's fading Philly on Sunday, but who's he on tonight?
I'd like to hear Prince, pop in the chat what your plan is for Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Dutch, my man, great job. Love working with you. Enjoy the big game tonight. And follow our man, Dutch Boy Fresh, on Twitter, @DutchBoyFresh. And great job. Can't wait to work again very soon.
I appreciate you, Jimmy. You got to stay up, my man.
Be well, my man. There he is. Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. We go from Dutch Boy Fresh to Conor Mac. C-Mac, what's happening, my man?
Nothing. What's going
on? Bright and early in Vegas for our 2 Vegas handicappers. Thank you for fighting the good fight. Did you cash on the Houston Cougars game last night? I didn't know what you were on.
I did not play it. I wish I would have took Houston. They're the better team, and I didn't. So I'm a little bummed out about it.
Well, let's see what you are attacking here. We have a college football game going off tonight. Louisville, Georgia Tech. Louisville opening up at -4.5. Now there's 5s. There's a 5.5. There's also still 4.5. Very important where you're shopping if you're backing either team. Georgia Tech, Louisville, total opens up at 64. There's still 64s. There's also 64.5, 65, and 65.5. Both teams on 2-game losing streaks right now. Louisville 1-2 on the season, 0-2 in the ACC. Georgia Tech 1-2, 1-1 in the ACC. Louisville lost back-to-back to Miami and Pittsburgh after beating Western Kentucky 35-21. Malik Cunningham, 5 picks this year. So he's making mistakes, but 757 yards passing, 7 touchdowns. He couldn't move the ball against Pitt at all. 107 yards, 3 picks. Javian Hawkins looking good, 313 yards rushing, 3 TDs. Dorian Etheridge, linebacker, leads the nation with 8.5 tackles for loss in 3 games. 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He's a monster. Georgia Tech's dropped consecutive games, Central Florida and Syracuse after opening the season with 16-13 win at Florida State, led by true freshman Jeff Sims, 695 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 8 picks. Rushed for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Jordan Mason, last year's leading rusher, is being hurt, but Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameis Griffin, both freshmen, have handled the job. Take it away, C-Mac, Louisville, Georgia Tech.
All righty. This game is going to be good. I think points will be scored. I'm not playing, but I'd lean the over. I like Louisville here. I got -4, and like you said, there's 5s out there right now. I think they're the better ball club. Like you said, I had Georgia Tech first game against Florida State, and they kind of shocked it. But we saw how's Florida State. They're not very good. So Sims has been a turnover machine. Both teams can't tackle. So I lean the over. I like Louisville because I think they have the more talent. I want Cunningham. I think they win this game by more than a touchdown. That's why I definitely like the -4. With Atwell, the receivers they got with Cunningham, that's my look in this game for sure.
Backing Louisville minus the points is how C-Mac is going to handle this tonight. And we have the cap agreeing. Other than cash action bets, who's on Georgia Tech +5. What do you think of this being a possible look-ahead spot? That's what Nick Hubb's talking about, looking ahead spot to Notre Dame next week.
This could be. I just think Louisville's rested, and I think they're going to be up for this game. You know, they've lost 2 in a row. That smacking in Miami, they look bad. You know what I mean? I want just the better team in this, and I think it's a short price here on a Friday night, so I like it. And they got more playmakers. Like you said, Sims, 8 INTs, 12 turnovers. Now, Georgia Tech can move the ball, but these mistakes that they've made are just killing them. They just can't do it. But both teams are going to score. That's why it's 64. I lean to the over. I think in the end, Louisville wears them down is better. And I love Georgia Tech. I like home dogs. You know, I mean, I want plus points usually on a home team. I don't think it's enough. I want the short price with Louisville here. We'll see. I think it's going to be a good one Friday night. I think we see points. Definitely. I think both teams might get into the 30s. It might be a 40. It could be a 40-20, you know, something like that. But I think Louisville definitely has a superior talent in my mind. I haven't seen it yet with Sims. They're a young team here at Georgia Tech. They've gone away from, you know, the wishbone, all that old. They're a spread out offense now. So, you know, they've gone away from that old system. So Louisville here, -4 tonight.
C-Mac getting his day started with Louisville Cardinal -4, and very important where you're shopping for this spot, because there's even a 5.5. Oh, no. Sorry. Yes, there's it's both. So, you know, I don't care about that. So, yeah, 5s and 4.5s now on the board. All righty. There we go. Let's just take a look at what all the licensed American books are offering up. See if we get something nice here. All righty. And the best line you can get is, wow, geez, BetMGM has moved it to 6.
It's going to go up. It's going to go up by the end of the day. I think it could. I don't know if it touches 7, but it's going to go up to 6, 6.5. Really.
FanDuel at 5.5, Bet Rivers at 5.5, DraftKings at 5, Bet America at 5. Wow, very, very interesting. Joey W is parlaying Louisville money line with the over. Says, coming from a Louisville fan, don't lay the points, we'll blow it.
We'll see.
Every fan.
Every fan. Yeah.
Sportsman of the Year making moves too. We're going to be talking about the Syracuse game, but Sportsman of the Year, our guy Lucky Lefties on Florida International -4, Hurricanes +14.5, and Syracuse money line +120. All righty, let's move on to your looks, Connor. Coming up on Saturday, we have a 3:30 p.m. Eastern game. You like Texas Tech, 1-2, 0-2 in the Big 12, going up against number 24th ranked Iowa State, 2-1, 2-0 in the Big 12. Let's see what you are getting from a market perspective here. Quickly, there we go. This game pops off at 3:30. This total opened up at 63. It's now at 64 or 64.5. And Iowa State opened up at -13. Now 12.5s on the board, but it's just 12.5s right across the board at every book. Take it away, C-Mac, Texas Tech, Iowa State.
All right, here we go. I got to take the points here with Texas Tech. Iowa State's off that big game against Oklahoma, which I liked. And once again, cover, they played great. I think it's a little letdown spot here. Texas Tech's quarterman's out. Bowman's out with a leg injury. They think he's going to play. But the backup, Henry Columbi, I think his name is, he came in and played great last week against K-State. They lost by 10, 31-21. Now, these teams both have a tough time tackling, too. I'm an early Big 12 over backer here. And that's why I got the 13, and I'm over the 64.5 in this game. I'm on both. So –
2 looks here from C-Mac. He's on Texas Tech plus the points. And did you get 12.5 or did you get in earlier than that?
I got 13.
13?
But 12.5 is okay. I think it's plenty of points. I just like the spot with Texas Tech. I think they can hang with them. Their running game is what's been really great this year. And Iowa State, I just think it's kind of a letdown spot. Purdy's just been inconsistent. I don't think he's looked great. I think it's a good one here, getting to the 30s. And I think the Red Raiders, I want the points here. I would definitely wouldn't feel comfortable laying 2 touchdowns almost with Iowa State. You know what I mean? Coming off that game coming home. So I'm all over it, and I like the over here. So.
And the over. What did you get in on the over at?
64.5.
Over 60.
And I think that's what it is right now. It hasn't really moved.
Yeah, 64.5. Actually, there are 3 64s on the board. There are 3 64s on the board. Michael Irvelina took Texas Tech plus 13, sprinkled a little on the money line, and loving this spot. It says Iowa will have a drop-off of emotions. Tech will explode. All right, cash action bets also on Texas Tech and backdoor cover. Loving the Red Raiders at plus 12.5. All right, that is C-Mac's first look on the Saturday card. So he has moved on Louisville minus the points tonight. He's got Texas Tech plus the points and the over in their matchup at Iowa State. Let's move on to your next look, C-Mac. It's 4 p.m. Eastern. Pittsburgh at Boston College. Pittsburgh 3-1 on the season, 2-1 in the ACC. At Boston College, 2-1 on the season, 1-1 in the ACC. And Pittsburgh opening up minus 4.5. Now 6s and 6.5s. And this total has gone up a point from its opener at Bet365 from 42.5 to 43.5. Take it away, Panthers, Boston College.
All righty. I think this one's going to be a good one. I'm on Boston College with the 6 here. And I'm thinking about maybe taking a little money line. This is a home dog I like. It's almost a touchdown. I've liked what I've seen out of Boston College. One thing's weird. Their offensive line hasn't been good this year, and they haven't been able to run the ball. But Phil Jerkovich, the quarterback's been able to sling it. And I think this game's a close one. Pitt never on the road in BC. I just don't see him, coming in and blowing any team out. I definitely want the 6 points with BC at home. I know it's short. I'm sure some people like Pitt in this spot. I know they got a good front seven, a solid defense. But I think Boston College scores enough. This game's close. It's low scoring. I think it's tight. Maybe in the 20s, low 20s. And it's a good one. So I'm going to gobble the points here. Take the 6 with BC.
Top Set says, love that look, Connor. I'm backing that Boston College game. Do you agree with this market move on the total 42.5 to 43.5?
Yeah. The total I have no feeling on. It should be an under game, like I said, in the 20s, but I wouldn't touch it because, it's college. But this is one of the games like Georgia on the card where you think like an under could be worth it, but I don't want to take it. It's just spotty at that number. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh, Boston College. We have a look from our CMAC on the home dog. What did you get it at?
+6.
Boston College +6. Sportsman of the Year also on Boston College +6. All righty. And then we broke down some spots yesterday, and they're the big games, and we don't have time to break them down again. We're not going to break them down again, but we did talk on Florida, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, and Tennessee, Georgia. Big games on the card. Are you making moves on any of those?
Yeah, I thought about that Georgia under. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. One other one that I like that I haven't either is the over in the Florida game. Florida, Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Over 58.5, I believe it is right now. I think points are scored here. I think Florida gets their way. A&M can't stop anybody. That was horrible against Bama. And for some reason, these teams will get better. It's early. But they're just not tackling well. I'm leaning on the over. This one, I'm dicey on that, but that's my lean on that game, the big game. And I have nothing on Oklahoma, Texas. I'd go with I have nothing there. It's going to be a shootout, probably in the 40s. Oh, I know a lot of people like that over 72.5. But yeah, that'd be the only look is maybe that over in the Texas game. But when you start laying 72, this one should get there though. These teams cannot play defense. Texas, Oklahoma. So That'd be my lean on that game.
Leaning to that over there. So those games we broke down yesterday with John Ryan on Florida, CMAC leaning towards the over. John Ryan on Oklahoma in the Oklahoma-Texas spot, CMAC leaning over there. And then John Ryan on Tennessee and CMAC leaning towards the under. On today's action, we have CMAC making a move on Louisville minus the points. We have it making a move on Texas Tech plus 12.5 and the over 64.5, and Boston College plus 6. CMAC, thank you for sharing your hard work with us. Have a big profitable day this evening. And out of curiosity, just quickly, are you making moves? Rays, Yankees, Lakers, Heat?
No, if the Lakers with the Mamba jerseys. I've liked the Heat with the points in all series. I think I'm going to stay off tonight, and I got the Rays, so I'm going to watch.
Oh, because you have the Rays to win the pennant.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want the Rays, man. God, I was worried that when they lost last night. I go, here we go, Cole game 5. But here we go. They're scrappy. I hope they can win, because I think they beat the Astros. Whoever this, out of this series, the Astros just don't have the pitching to get it done, I think. And Greinke's question, Verlander, of course, isn't there. I just don't think they can go deep 7 games. That bullpen will get taxed. So whoever wins this, I think, is the representative of the AL for sure. So
I agree.
Get it, Rays.
But when it's when it's us against the world mentality, you can. We've seen what it's done for the Astros so far. But
That's true.
I hear you. And Nilo letting us know that we have a positive COVID case for the Jets. All right. Great job, CMAC. Spectacular work. Good luck on your action, and I will be in touch, my friend.
For sure. Later, boys.
There he is. Follow him on Twitter at Conor Mac Picks. There he is, CMAC in the house. We go right from CMAC to John Ryan. John, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. Jimmy, how are you?
Doing good. I got very angry watching the baseball game yesterday and kind of bled into my evening, and I, took it out on the family, and then today being back here capping, I'm starting to feel better.
I guess that's a good thing. It's always moving forward, right?
Yes, moving forward. And speaking of moving forward, we have John Ryan gave us looks on Florida yesterday, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. And now we move into a new batch of action for John Ryan. We start with the 12 p.m. game, John, 19th ranked Virginia Tech at number 8, North Carolina. Both teams open up 2-0 and 2-0 in the ACC. Let's see what we are dealing with from a market perspective. This total opened up at 60. It's now at 59 or 58.5. North Carolina opens up at -5.5, and now it's at 4 pretty much everywhere, but Bet365 is at 4.5. Take it away, John. VTech, North Carolina.
As you mentioned with the line and the line betting flows, the money is coming on Virginia Tech, which is quite interesting against the ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. I'll get right to a betting system here that I like quite a bit, and it's won the money 67% of the time for a 90 and 45 against the spread record over the last 5 years. So there's a lot of action with this system. So the guys that are listening that like to have a system that gives them 2, 3, 4 games a week, this might be one for you to write down. So what we're going to do is we're going to play on any team, which in this case is Virginia Tech, that is an excellent rushing team, gaining 4.8 or more yards per rush, and is coming off a game where they outrushed the opponent by at least 125 yards. And they are now facing a solid rushing team in North Carolina who's averaging between 4.3 and 5 yards per rush. So it's all about the line of scrimmage, the trenches, and the power running game. And this system underscores the simple fact that I think Virginia Tech has the better ground attack.
Very interesting spot.
Now, on the other side of the coin here on the machine learning stuff, we always have that 28-point pivot area that I like to talk about and have talked about for, I hate to admit it, but decades. Teams that, let's say North Carolina does score 28 points, that's not going to be a good sign for the Hokies, because I can tell you the Hokies are 4-11 the last 3 years and 1974 against the number when they've allowed 28 or more points. So we're expecting the Virginia Tech defense to play a whale of a game as well. Now, when North Carolina gains or does not gain 28 or more points, their record is 5-10 over the last 3 seasons and a miserable 30-102 against the spread over the last 10 seasons. Conversely, as we mentioned before, Virginia Tech does terrible when they allow 28 points. North Carolina does very well when they score 28 or more points. So 28 or more points from North Carolina, they're 10-5 the last 3 years and 118-46 against the number of the last 10 years. So I think this, again, reinforces that pivot area that I like to call, 28 points for the majority of college football teams. Obviously with Clemson, who averages over 40, they've scored at least 40 in the first 3 games. That number has to rise a little bit. If they score 35 or more, they're X. So I hope that made sense here for this game as well. But I think this is an upset alert, and I like the points here and possibly playing the money line along with it.
And that is your breakdown correlates with the reason why this. If you like Virginia Tech, you would probably like the under as well.
Correct. Yep.
Very interesting. But you have not moved on the under. You're moving on Virginia Tech.
Yeah, it's very tempting. I can say, more than 10 years ago, I was in that mode of not really being completely disciplined with the machine learning projections. But I learned over time that, parlays are very tough to hit. We love playing them. We love hitting them. I mean, who doesn't like to hit a reverse action parlay at 4-1? Especially in baseball with 2 dogs. I mean, that's the best of everything. So with parlays and teasers, I've always reminded my clients and people that are new bettors now that I get a chance to meet through Twitter that the reason the casinos and the sports books offer them is because they make money off of them. And that also implies that the majority of the people who bet them lose them. There's some great parlay players out there, don't get me wrong. But if you're a new bettor, I would rather play 2 individual bets. In this case, Virginia Tech plus the points as a bet, and then another bet betting the under, and just avoid the parlays and the teasers whenever possible, I guess.
Oh, I think that's very important.
There's a time to do them, and there's a time not to do them. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, it also has to do with your bankroll too, and if you can only bet $100 or less a day, maybe you want to go for a big score, and that's up to you as the gambler to what brings you joy, because this is why we do it. This is all about bringing joy to your life. And if your bankroll is low and you want to go for a big score because that brings you joy, then go ahead and do it. If you want to succeed over a long period of time, then you need to cut that stuff out as much as possible. But I think that's great stuff. So we've got John Ryan on Virginia Tech. What did you get? Because this is a moving market right now. What did you get Virginia Tech at?
I have not bet the game yet.
Okay.
Only because I'm just wondering if there's going to be some buybacks by the pros who got on Virginia Tech earlier in the week. I'm seeing, I think you said you have the line at 4 right now.
There is some 4.5s.
4.5 is a pretty attractive price in my opinion.
4.5 is gone.
As we talked yesterday, it's always prudent to get the best price, even if I'm confident in my analysis that Virginia Tech's going to win this game outright, and 4 doesn't matter, 4.5 doesn't matter, whatever I get. there are those times where that hook is the difference between a push, a win, or a loss. So it's always prudent to get the best price you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's move on to a fascinating game. We've had a lot of cappers in the chat talking about backing Syracuse here, the Carrier Dome. Duke 0-4, 0-4 in the ACC at Syracuse, 1-2 in the ACC. This game pops off at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Duke opens up as 1-point favorites. Depending on where you shop, you can get them at a pick'em, or you can get them at -2. This total opened up at 51. It's up to 53 at some books, especially the leading indicator books. Others are behind at 52 and 52.5. Take it away. Very interesting spot here. Duke, Syracuse.
Yeah, this is a winless Duke Blue Devil team on the road at the Carrier Dome. And as you said, the Orange are 1-2 so far this year. And despite what I heard you say with the majority of people being on Syracuse, I'm actually on Duke in this game. And if you put it in the simplest form, why is a winless team favored on the road against a conference foe? Granted, it's only a point or two, but you said it's up to, you're starting to see -3s. So, the money's obviously coming in on Duke in this game, at least in the last day or so. But that's the first thing that hit me with this game, and any game I see where it's a winless team or a team that has 1 win and 8 losses going against a 5-5 team, for example, and they are favored. It always sticks out to me because you've been, based on record, Syracuse is better because they have 1 win, and Duke doesn't have any. So looking at the machine learning stuff here. There is support for the defense of the Blue Devils to perform very well in this game, at least better than their averages or better than what is expected. They are 45-22 against the number over the last 10 years when they have held an opponent to between 100 and 150 rushing yards. So that's not suggesting that they're just going to shut down Syracuse's rushing attack, but they're going to cap it at 150. So any number below 150 rushing yards allowed by Duke is a favorable situation to win the bet. Also, they're going to allow 300 to 350 total yards of offense by the Syracuse Orange. In that situation, Duke is 4-2 against the spread the last 3 years. Not many times has that happened. But over the last 10 years, they're 30-12 against the spread and have covered the spread in those games by an average of 8 points. So when I look at those numbers and it's covering by an average of 8 points, and that also includes the 9 losses too, that's almost giving you a free touchdown. If they attain that performance measure of keeping Syracuse under 350, it's like getting an extra 7 points in your hand based on the historical results. So the last one is that I think Duke's offense is going to outgain the Syracuse offense. So the machine learning projections at the summary level call for them to outgain them by at least half a yard per play. And as you know, Jimmy, I love the yards per play, points per play. It just shows offensive efficiency, defensive efficiencies, or inefficiencies, and they're very important in handicapping. When Duke has outgained their opponent by 5 or more yards per play, they are 22-5 against the spread over the last 10 years, and of those games when they're on the road against a conference foe, they are 8-0. So when I get stuff like that, that kind of seals the deal on who I like. So based on that, I like the Blue Devils here to win this by 7 points or more.
Is this a spot where you would sell points, or is this a spot where you would just take the money line?
I usually don't like playing money line on favorites, Jimmy. Where I like playing the money line is taking an underdog of, say, let's just use an example of 10 points, where I'll split the wager between 50% on the betting line, 50% on the money line, getting that plus 200 or 250. It gets a little less rewarding to split a bet using a favorite, because if they don't win, then you're paying that extra vig.
But Duke -1 is -110. Duke money line's -115.
In this case, then it makes no difference. You're right.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, because this is one thing that we see a whale capper do in NFL is sell points. You know, if you think they're a possible 7-point favorite, let's just, out of curiosity, I'd be interested to see what we'd get here. And let me see if I can pull it up. Here we go.
I think it's like 4.5 or 6.5.
The Duke -6.5 is +170. Might not be enough. -4.5 is +137. Might not be enough.
Yeah, I agree. That doesn't really make sense to me to do that. I was expecting you to say closer to +300, to be honest with you, on the 6.5. Well, not 300, but more like 225.
Yeah, I agree. I was surprised that.
Yeah, that is a little.
-1.5 is +100. So -1.5 at least gets you into the plus line. Dennis Garcia says, I prefer to lay the one. Why spend the extra juice? Worst you can do is push. I agree with that. All right, so we have looks from our John Ryan. He's moved on. Virginia Tech +4, Duke -1. And I'm sure this is just, oh, I guess not, because you got Oklahoma. Oh, yeah, because that Oklahoma game is in Texas. It's at the Cotton Bowl too, right? So
yeah,
that puts you into a spot where you've given out five sides on the show in the last 2 days, and they've been 5 road teams. I guess that's an anomaly, a small sample size, but very, very interesting stuff from our John Ryan. All right, John, we move on to the next look for you. UTSA at BYU. This game pops off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And 15th ranked Brigham Young are massive favorites. They opened up at -34. They're now -35. And this total is at 63. And when I saw you choose this game as one of your spots, I became very interested. I thought, man, I'm looking forward to hear the data that backs up this play with a huge favorite like this. I'm very curious to see your look. Break it down for us. UTSA, BYU.
Well, BYU is in a situation due to the COVID-19 pandemic where they can have an undefeated 8-0 season. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this game. When you get to the end of the season, and hoping we do, because we all heard the Jets news and that situation of canceling the game in the NFL. If BYU goes 8-0 against a weak schedule, how are they going to be evaluated when they're already ranked this high? Arguably, they're number 15 now. If they go 8-0, they're going to be higher than 15. And if they get into the single digits, then it becomes that issue with the playoffs and how they're going to do that. So in this game, clearly there's no doubt that BYU is going to win this game. And I think because of the ranking, there is a tendency now for them to look to dominate, meaning that they'll do their best to keep Texas San Antonio off the scoreboard. If they limit them to 3 and they win 45-3, it's not necessarily running up the score, but it's margin of victory. So I think this game is one of those. UTSA does have a 3-1 record, but they have beaten. I gotta pull it down here. They have beaten Texas State, Stephen F. Austin, Middle Tennessee State, and with all due respect, those are fine schools, fine institutions, but they're not quality football programs this season. if that I can say that respectfully to those programs this year. UTSA has also had 4 quarterbacks this year. They've had a ton of injuries at that position. They are starting the kid that played last week, who took over for let me just pull that up, Jimmy, and I'll tell you who their names are, because it's worth getting into the detail here a little bit. Okay. Here's the situation. Of these 4 quarterbacks, the first starter was Frank Harris, and he got hurt, and then he started the UAB game. He got I'm sorry, he started the UAB game. He got hurt on the very first play of the game. Then Josh Atkins came in for Harris and led the Roadrunners to a 37-35 home win against Middle Tennessee State. But they also failed to cover the 6-point spread. The following week, which is the UAB game, I meant to say New Mexico State. I meant to say Middle Tennessee State. I'm off the rails here. So in this particular situation, Atkins got hurt on the very first play of the game in this game against UAB last week, the first play of the game. Jordan Weeks then had to come off the bench, very inexperienced at the college level, and he managed to drive them down the field for a field goal, but then they struggled big time after that, and that allowed UAB to get back into the game and ultimately win it. The Roadrunner defense played extraordinarily well and forced 4 turnovers by the UAB offense, but still that wasn't enough to allow the offense to get going to make a comeback and win the game. So what I'm saying here is I believe that Josh Atkins is starting tonight, and I'm sorry, Jordan Weeks is starting tonight, and if so, I don't think that offense is going to be able to score more than 10 points against BYU. And BYU's offense is clicking on all cylinders, and they know they're better, and they're going to take care of business. So it's very rare for me to take a favorite of this magnitude. It's more likely, if you looked at my records over the last 20 years, there's more 35-point underdogs than there are favorites being bet. However, this is one of those situations that I see, 55-0, 55-3, something of that magnitude. So I feel confident laying the huge amount of wood.
If that is your thought process, wouldn't the under 63 be in play?
No, because the thought is that BYU is going to potentially score a lot of points. They could score 63 on their own merit.
Okay.
So I don't like that particular part of it. I do know there's some trends, though, that do favor these 30 to 40-point favorites and the under. That has worked well over the years. But in this particular game, I'd rather just go with BYU and just let it rip.
Now, when you have giant favorites like this, are you sometimes more comfortable just backing them first half because there's a concern that the halfway through the third quarter into the fourth quarter that the second unit comes in and even the third unit?
I give that some weight, but I also believe that that's already factored into the price that we're seeing at minus 35. I think over time, some of my research has indicated that you can have the possibility of a backdoor cover occur, but it's because, how can I say this now? It's more likely of a backdoor cover because of mistakes being made by the favorite. Get lazy and get a punt blocked, pick six, things of that magnitude. It doesn't necessarily matter, or it doesn't necessarily correlate to the first unit offense. So I think, if it's first half line, it's got to be at least 17.5. So it's reasonable to think that BYU should be out ahead 21-0, 24-3, 35-3. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was 35-3 at halftime. In those situations, too, it brings up live betting where you can protect yourself a little bit with a hedge. So if you do get that 42-3 halftime score, you can, if you want to limit your exposure and not get backdoored entirely, you can take the opponent, which would be the Roadrunners. And I would imagine they'd be getting like at least 28 points in that second half if the score was 45-3.
Yeah, I love
these games are tough, Jimmy, too, because I don't play big favorites this much. 28 minus 28 and above. It's pretty rare for me to go this strongly on a game. But given their quarterback situation and what the machine learning stuff is saying, there's no reason not to make this one of my many plays.
I like it. BYU and DJ Big Boss agreeing with John Ryan's take here. So we have Virginia Tech +4, Duke -1, and BYU minus the 35. Or did you get better than that? Because it opened at 34.
34.5, and that was only half of it. So I'm going to have to, if I want the full blown bet, I'm going to have to pay up, for the price. But again, if I'm right, I mean, this sounds dumb to say, Jimmy, but if I'm right and the machine learning's right, the 34 or 35 is not going to matter.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. There you have it.
One last thing, I was going to throw in a fourth one here. I think we actually may have talked about this game too. Arkansas-Auburn has caught the radar here. And Arkansas is seeing a lot of money coming in on them in the last couple of days from the 20 books that I track. And it's interesting because Auburn's coming off a really physical game against Georgia, and a game that their quarterback Bo Nix really didn't perform well. He had all kinds of expectations on him this year to take the next step forward, and he so far through 2 games is completing 55% of his passes. And there is a chance here that Auburn could overlook Arkansas, and Arkansas is vastly better than any time in the last 20 years. And they were 2-24 straight up in SEC competition since 2017. 2-24. Just last week they beat Mississippi State to end that stretch, which also included a stretch of 20 consecutive losses to SEC foes. So now you have a team that has always been a doormat, feeling pretty good about themselves, going on the road to I don't even know if Auburn will have fans or not, but it's not going to be a packed stadium. And Auburn can't be feeling good about themselves right now, even at 1-1. As we all know, one loss in the SEC in either division can be enough to keep you out of any contention for the SEC championship, let alone the national championship, which Auburn is a team that always aspires to do every single season they take the field. So this may be one of those chances that Arkansas has to get another win. They haven't won consecutive SEC games since 2014. So if I'm a coach at Arkansas, I would certainly put that on the bulletin board, that we have a chance to do something good that hasn't been done since 2014. And granted, it's only two wins in a row. But for anybody who's thinking Auburn, I would be a little cautious here. I'm not recommending taking Arkansas yet. If I do, I'll put it out on Twitter. But I would have a lean here on Arkansas.
Yeah, and the market agrees, and we now have Arkansas that opened up at Bet365 +15 at +13.5 and 13 in some books, and we've got guys in the chat like Cash Action got Arkansas +16.5, Ron Crawford got Arkansas +15.5, and Eric Swiatek, who's just been crushing, doing great work, got the under 51, and it's all the way down to 46.5.
Yeah, that's not a ton.
Great job.
I think that's the biggest line movement of the totals this week on the card.
Yeah, it looks like it is. We have the 5-point drop in Alabama Ole Miss. But yeah, wow. Wild stuff.
Real quick, I have a question for you, Jimmy. What are you hearing with the Clemson-Miami game from your great sources?
I don't know if it's going off, obviously. Let me see if I can get some information. You know what? There's a couple things I can look up that can give me some insights. Why don't you give me a couple minutes to look up the Clemson spot while we hear a couple, if you have any NFL looks that you want to drop on this show before we put a bow on it.
Sure. Let me pull up the NFL pages here. While I'm doing that, I was on Tampa Bay last night in a losing effort, and that was a strange game. That definitely was an exemplary of the 2020 year that we've all so much enjoyed. The game I'm going to talk about here is Las Vegas against Kansas City, and this is a game that's quite interesting too. Las Vegas Raiders taking to the road 2-2, double-digit underdog against the perfect Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. So let's take a look at just a betting system here or two. And sorry it's taking so long.
No worries. By the way, in this Vegas Chiefs spot, I got the under 56. I think it's 56. I'll have to double check really quickly. And yeah, I got 56. It's now at 55.5. So beat that by half of a point.
Yeah, I think the under is the play, and it's mainly because of Coach Andy Reid, and he has a lot of years of coaching, and the data is quite meaningful. He is 16-4 on the under in home games after covering the spread in 2 of the last 3 games since he's been the coach of Kansas City. That's about as simple as it gets. And it's even actually gets a little bit better if he's coming off a win, a road win, and now playing at home. And that's the case. And despite being, I think he's an offensive genius. I put him in that category. At the same time, his defensive mind and the people he has running the defense that he's hired are pretty good at what they do too. And he does have a tendency to play games where he gets out to that 2 or 3 score lead, and he does milk the clock. He almost takes his foot off the gas pedal with the offense, which I've never really liked when he was in Philadelphia. I always, wanted to be, if you got somebody down, you want to just end the fight. You don't want it to go 10 rounds if you have the opponent struggling in the second round. But that's his style of play, and that's what's created some of these trends for the under. And I think with the Raiders being such a dangerous team, meaning that they outgained Buffalo last week, both in the rushing and the passing, but because of their miscues and their mistakes, they had no chance of winning the game against a team that's disciplined like the Buffalo Bills are playing this year. So they're a gunslinger type of team, the Raiders are. And Reid does have a history of when he's facing them to try to clamp down on them first and worry about winning the game on the scoreboard later. In other words, he's playing one play at a time, and the score will take care of itself. So that's what I wanted to point out on that game. Coming off a win, he's 47-30 under in his career. 16-7 under in home games after 3 or more consecutive wins. 27-12 playing poor defensive teams who give up an average of 24 or more points a game. And this is throughout his whole coaching career at Kansas City. 25-12 to the under, facing poor passing defenses, allowing 7 or more passing yards per attempt since being the coach of the Chiefs. So in that situation, you look at a poor passing defense like the Raiders are, and you would think, oh my God, the over, you got to take it. That's like giving money away. But we find out through the database and doing these queries that sometimes it's the direct opposite.
One thing that led me to want your angle on Reed wanting to shut down the Raiders early is sort of different than my take on it. And my take on it was with the injuries that the Raiders have at wide receiver, that they can't run and gun with the Chiefs. And I find when the Chiefs play a team that can't run and gun with them, and they don't need to put up 30 or 35, they just simply don't. They take control, they run the clock down, and they win comfortably. When they need to put up 40 points, they put them up. But I don't know if they're going to need to do that here. So that was sort of my thinking.
Yeah, I like that thinking, Jimmy. That makes a lot of sense. I can buy into that too.
I like it though. I quite like the under. I'm going to pull up a couple of the spots where I find money in Clemson Hurricane or in Clemson Miami game where the money's coming in. So I'm going to pop those up right here. But while I'm doing that, do you have anything else that you're looking at in NFL?
To be honest with you, I haven't run the models for the second half of the card. And there's all these games getting canceled.
Yeah. Or
uncertainties of what games are actually going to happen and which ones are not. But I can do a look at the Eagles and the Steelers.
Sweet. That was a double up spot for me on the Steelers. I'm a little surprised what I've read this week about how they feel about this situation. I thought that this was a great spot that Pittsburgh got to have the week off, but they're not acting that way. And I'd be very curious. I'd love to discuss with you what the best way for you to monitor the books and the action. And you've been in this game for so long, and we love having you as part of the Low Bag fam because we've got so much to learn as a group, and you've been in this game for so long. But here, what I have in Miami, Florida, Clemson, and what I was meaning that I had not planned on making a move in college football. I haven't dug deep into this NCAA football season. And now with baseball close to being done, basketball about to be done, NHL being done, I'm going to be doing that moving forward. But I have here that the cash is coming in on the over and on Miami. The tickets are pretty much even, and the cash coming in on Miami. How are you thinking? What were you expecting from this Miami Clemson spot? And do my numbers correlate with what your books are saying?
They do correlate. I'm actually just refreshing that page. And at the beginning of the week, I was kind of surprised that you heard of some sizable bets coming in on the Canes that took the line. I believe some of the places opened this line at 15, and they just hammered it right away. And that kind of surprised me. I thought it would have been the other way around with Clemson playing at home and the whole, Trevor Lawrence and how great that team really is. So it caught me a little off guard with what the initial response was, but then that picked up the public betting, and there's a lot of the public on that game with the Canes. Let's see, I got it right.
I have 63% of the cash on Miami and 52% of the tickets.
Yeah, I have it similar. 63% of the tickets are on the Canes, and I actually have a higher money amount of 78%.
Wow.
So that when you have the numbers, both numbers higher than 60, that's pretty rare. So among my 20, you have to almost assume that there was somebody out there that had a very large bet, or maybe there was 2 or 3 individuals that put big bets on the Hurricanes to get those kind of numbers. And that fact doesn't give any more strength to making a bet on the Hurricanes than just the percentages themselves. It doesn't make me more bullish on the Hurricanes just because there's the possibility of 1, 2, or 3 huge bets out there that force the line down. I never think that, wow, those guys must know something. They must have inside information. So I have to join them. And I never think that way with that kind of thought process. And that comes from my Wall Street days, Jimmy. I learned early on, you just don't follow the herd. That's that old story with the sheep and they get to the cliff and the one jumps and then the rest of them jump. I've always been more of the contrarian style of better. I like being on that side of it because I found it to win more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always, that word is a funny word because, contrarian, in some conversations can mean that, wow, he's a contrarian. That means he's an old guy that can't learn anything new, or, it just has a negative connotation to it. That, you're a contrarian. That's why you think that way. But in this particular case, and then also investing, which I see all the time in the marketplace, you get extremes of bulls, and that's where the tops form. You get extremes in bears, and that's where the bottoms form. And the same sentiment applies to sports betting. It's the exact same thing. It's human behavior, and nobody knows why it happens. We're all smart people, but when we're all doing the same thing, it seems to be the wrong thing. And in terms of sports betting and trading.
Yeah, no, those are very salient points, important points. So, let me
go ahead with the.
Does it ever concern you, like C-Mac? So one thing I started doing was not looking. I didn't want to know that so much of the money was coming in on one side. I didn't want it. I wanted just to cap the game with an open mind. And so I almost stopped looking at it entirely. And I know that in NFL it helps so much, but I mean, you go to a game like Louisville, Georgia Tech, 86% of the cash on Louisville. I mean, if you were sitting with Louisville in your pocket and you knew 86% of the cash was on Louisville, would that concern you?
Yeah, it does. And it's harder in the college because there's fewer number of tickets as compared to the NFL that has sometimes upwards of 10,000 tickets by the time the game is rolling around. Whereas that Georgia Tech Louisville game, I'm guessing may not even have hit 1,000 tickets yet among those 20 books. So the one thing I do think with that is that when it gets that lopsided, that there is one big bettor out there that put down 20 grand, could be a Louisville alumni that happens to be in Vegas. I mean, who knows, right? Some people, especially amateurs, don't have to be a pro to put down 20 grand on a game. Alumni are notorious for that. They get a little bit, too much alcohol, and we know what happens. You get bigger muscles, your wallet gets bigger than it is, and you go for it. And that is part of the fun, as long as you're not going for it in an insane fashion. But when it's 86%, that tells me I need to see more betting flows as the game approaches. If it's that high at game time, I'd almost ignore the game. Not ignore the game, ignore that stat for the game. With the sentiment, I'm actually working on a pretty cool. I use Python as my code. It's really no big deal. I'm just a certified Twitter developer. So I'm allowed to go in there. I can't, see any private information, but I can go in there and develop some pretty neat tools. So one of them that I'm working on, I'm using the presidential election as the beta test. So I'm scanning Twitter looking for certain words, and there's over 1,000 words that I have in this module. And they could be very positive words associated with Biden or Trump, or they could be very negative terms associated with politics and campaigning. So you can tell where I'm going with this. In addition to getting the betting consensus of 65% of the tickets are on a team, I can then also say that based on the sentiment indicators that I've retrieved from Twitter, this is what the public is thinking of this game. So I'm pretty excited about that because I do think it's going to bring back a lot of new value. It's a new way of looking at things in addition to everything else. And like you said earlier, the fun part of these shows and talking to people is that, nobody's ever going to perfect this business. Nobody's going to ever be the perfect bettor or the perfect trader. And, if you think you can do it in a closet and not share information and listen to others, then you're not going to be successful. So I think the exchange of information on these shows is really, really good for you and I and the audience. It helps me. So when I finally get this done and get it tested, and hopefully it will bring back some really correlated results, I think we'll all be pretty excited about what it brings. Hopefully more winners.
Hopefully more winners. Yeah, we love having you in the fam here, John, and love your insights.
I appreciate it.
Shane Schwader says, "Are you leaving? And if so, when will you be back, my dude?" No, we're gonna have lots of shows. We're just not gonna have an all-encompassing betting show like we do right now that I host. We're gonna focus on each individual sport. So it won't be a 10 a.m. betting with the bag. That's all that's changing. I'll be all over the place as much as possible. Let's close this show. I'll review the looks from our cappers. We had Dutch Boy Fresh on the show, C-Mac, Conor Mac, and John Ryan. John, we have a question here from I just had it up here. From Michael Rivalina. He says, I always cash out with my online betting in Bitcoin. Was curious if I should keep some Bitcoin and let it go for a few months. Any opinion on investing into Bitcoin, John Ryan?
Well, Bitcoin, I do have charts on it. It's in a bullish trend right now. I think it will go higher. And regardless of what the election result is, it is a viable asset. It hasn't been too long since the consensus was that this was something borderline illegal. And now it's proven to be a great vehicle for the exchange of commerce. And it is the biggest one out of, there must be almost 1,000 different cryptocurrencies out there. So with Bitcoin, I think that's a good idea to maintain a position in the actual Bitcoins. And I think it'll get back up to 15,000, 16,000 from its current level, regardless of the election or anything else that you might hear on the news about what's going to impact Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So that was a pretty cool question.
Well, that was a great answer. John Ryan, thank you so much for rolling with us. We have looks for John Ryan. No move made yet on Arkansas, but a possible look there. He is on BYU minus 34.5, Duke minus 1, and he hasn't got to the window yet on Virginia Tech, but he is close to making that move. Conor Mac moved on Boston College plus 6, Texas Tech plus 12.5, and the over 64.5. And in Louisville, Georgia Tech, he's backing Louisville in tonight's action. I did not move on Yankees Rays. I just can't let playoff MLB baseball torture me and ruin my life. So I can't. I got to stop. But
you're doing pretty good now, though.
I'm much happier than I was yesterday. It's just, but in NBA, the only concern here I have is that if I cash these two bets, it will be my first year in front of you guys where every single bet is made public and I won't be up double-digit units. If I cash these, I'll end up plus 9.92 units. But it's been a fun year. 168 and 147 plus 7.92 units plus 2.51 ROI. And one thing that's been fun is that there's not been the volatility in my record. I've just been around this between plus 1 unit and plus 15 units all year. So it's been relaxing. I'm on LBJ over 27.5 points. That's a straight tail of Dutch Boy Fresh's analysis. And I'm also on the under 216.5. John Ryan, you are a huge asset to us and love capping with you. You're going to see John Ryan on our college football shows moving next week. So we're going to have a college football show on Monday and one on Saturday. So Monday, opening lines show on college football. And then Saturday, we have the kickoff show. And then in NFL, Tuesday night, we have the opening line show with Rob Bebenek. This week, we have special guest, the Whale Cap, are going to join us. And then Sunday, we have our kickoff show. And then there'll be more throughout the week as well. We're just kind of planning and figuring everything out. John Ryan, my man, thank you. Thank you. And
My
can't wait
pleasure.
to working with you.
Thanks very much.
Follow John Ryan at John Ryan Sports 1. Is that right? Let me just make sure.
That is correct.
That is great. Okay, at John Ryan Sports 1. Follow our man on Twitter, John, getting a lot of love from the chat. But we've got nothing, truly, we've got nothing without the chat, your insights, your humor, and just the energy that you bring to the show is extremely enjoyable. So we thank you guys. Nick Hubb, Mr. Gokster, Lance LaRose, Glenn Elliott, man, Dennis Garcia, Beach Boss, Rude, Jude, Shane Schwader, Canas Cat, Tori Coker, the Czar, Conor Mac, who was on the show, Viper MB, Mark Uncle for Albert Ross, Cash Action Bets, Dav Fenn, Birdie. Thank you guys. Have a for the Canadians, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's Canadian Thanksgiving, and we don't celebrate it in November because we have nothing to be thankful for in November. Just here in October. Love you, SoCal resellers. Great job, John Ryan. I look forward to capping with you, and you can catch John Ryan on our NCAA football shows all next week. Let's get paid. Have a great weekend, John.
You got it. You too, Jimmy. Take care.
Leche. Hey, Los Bookmakers. Have a big night. Enjoy Game 5 of Rays Yankees NBA Finals and the big Louisville game. Thank you guys so much for watching.